The Sega Dreamcast 2, a console that many Sega fans have dreamed about for years, and who could blame them? The Dreamcast, released as the world's most powerful gaming console, was a groundbreaking platform, ushering in a new era of technically impressive gameplay that enthralled all who played it. With its robust specifications and seamless graphics, it outclassed both the Sony PlayStation and Nintendo 64 at launch, delivering some of the most beautiful games the world had seen yet. However, sadly, as we now know, the Dreamcast's promising start was quickly overshadowed by the Sony PlayStation 2, which featured DVDs and executed near-perfect marketing. Additionally, the entry of Microsoft into the console market, backed by substantial financial resources, ultimately compelled Sega to make the sensible decision to exit the console race in 2001. But fast forward over a decade later, people were not only still pining for a next-generation Sega console, but in 2015, Dreamcast 2 was trending on Facebook. So, join me today as we look back at this utterly bizarre tale in gaming history and explore what this weird chapter from the internet's recent past was all about. Hello ladies and gentlemen, Big Daddy Top Hat here. This is the incredibly stupid story of the Sega Dreamcast 2. Yeah. Since the lamentable exit of Sega from the home console market in 2001, a pervasive sense of nostalgia has enveloped gamers and enthusiasts alike, leaving them yearning for the days of the iconic Dreamcast. Even though the prospect of Sega re-entering the hardware industry seems highly improbable, the longing for a follow-up to the Dreamcast remained ever persistent. But little did people expect that in a surprising turn of events, the widespread desire for a Dreamcast successor erupted into a whirlwind of excitement across the digital realm in 2015. This was particularly the case on Facebook, as scores of enthusiastic users rallied behind the shared dream of a Dreamcast 2, fervently discussing its potential existence. This collective frenzy reached such heights that Dreamcast 2 ascended to the coveted position of a trending topic on the platform that year, sparking conversations and debates galore. The genesis of this astonishing hype can be traced back to several online sources, including an article published by the Epoch Times, a multi-language newspaper and media company associated with the Falun Gong new religious movement. In a headline that reverberated across the gaming community, the Epoch Times declared that the Dreamcast 2 was reportedly under development and could be a PC console hybrid. This bold statement ignited the imagination of many, leading them to ponder the possibility of a Dreamcast revival with modern PC-like capabilities. But the Epoch Times were not the only news site pushing this narrative, as adding fuel to the fire of speculation would be another digital platform, Cinema Blend, a website renowned for its coverage of movies, TV shows, games and celebrity gossip. In an article that further fanned the flames of anticipation, Cinema Blend proclaimed that the Dreamcast 2 wants to answer PC gamers' wishes. In the age of social media, it's often easy to get swept up in the information that floods our feeds, and the allure of discovering breaking news on Facebook is undeniable. After all, if it's on Facebook, it must be credible, right? None of this could possibly be lies. The Dreamcast 2 phenomenon serves as a prime example of how captivating headlines can captivate and convince even the most discerning users. So let's begin to look at what was really going on here. Interestingly, the intoxicating allure of a Dreamcast 2 revival doesn't end with the headlines alone. The articles about them we mentioned earlier are crafted with at least some sort of air of authenticity and purpose, which further contributes to the compelling narrative. Take for instance the report from Cinema Blend, with their article hyping up a Dreamcast 2. Delving deeper into the piece, it introduces Project Dream, an endeavour that appears to have been gaining momentum at the time. Cinema Blend would write, "There's a possibility of a new console coming from Sega. That sounds like a pipe dream and something far off from reality, but it's actually the truth. There's a project making a lot of headway called Project Dream, which is aimed at bringing a PC-style Dreamcast 2 console to the market. Patrick Lawson, a member of the Sega Dreamcast 2 supergroup, aimed at reviving the Dreamcast brand with the help of some Sega of Japan interns and independent OEM designers, has been making some serious progress with the project." Past this point, the article continues to stoke the flames of hope, suggesting that the Dreamcast 2 will be a direct competitor to existing gaming devices, such as Steam machines or dedicated rigs from companies like Cyberpower and Alienware. This positioning implies that Project Dream is not just a whimsical notion, but a serious contender in the world of gaming hardware. But that was not all. An aspect of this article would be the technical details it provides. According to the report, the Dreamcast 2 would run on an Intel Core i5 Haswell processor and would be designed for seamless gameplay, allowing users to enjoy Sega titles directly from the hard drive after a digital installation. The system's primary purpose would be to provide a means of playing both classic and contemporary Sega titles on HDMI compatible devices, with the added benefit of HD upscaling compatibilities. Cineblend were not shying away from delving into the intricate details of what purportedly made the Dreamcast 2 a promising venture. Building on all of this, it boldly claimed the whole point is to put Sega back into the running as a viable console competitor. According to the article, the design of a new console would harken back to the original Dreamcast, but with essential modifications and updates to align with contemporary standards. A tantalising mock-up of this potential console is even showcased in the article's main image, something that required a little more work in the old-fashioned pre-AI art world. To further intensify the allure, the Dreamcast 2 at the time would be promoted to include a wireless controller akin to those of the Xbox One, PS4 or the Wii U's Pro controllers. How very futuristic of them. As amazing as all of this sounds, over 8 years removed from this absurdity, the intriguing question that naturally arises is whether any of this information holds water, or if it's merely another instance of fake news making its rounds on Facebook and other so-called news sites. Well, after close examination of some of the claims made in the article, it very quickly unravels some of its credibility. For instance, the piece mentions the Sega Dreamcast 2 supergroup, obviously alluding to a substantial and influential collective working towards a Dreamcast 2. After all, occasionally people power does win the day, so perhaps if enough noise was made, Sega could listen. However, upon investigation, it becomes evident that this supergroup was nothing more than a Dreamcast fan club with fewer than 900 Facebook members. To better put into perspective what a tiny number of people that is, this YouTube channel alone has 162,000 subscribers, and millions of people watch it every month. However, no one in their right mind would describe this as a super YouTube channel. I'm hardly anywhere as close to as popular as great creators such as Logan Paul or SS Sniperwolf, for example. They are true success stories of this platform. So with that said, I find it incredibly misleading to label a small Facebook group that way, as it casts doubt on the veracity of the entire narrative instantly. While this is the case, for those who persevere to read it in its entirety, a nugget of truth is unveiled at the conclusion. It discloses that the beginning of this 2015 Dreamcast fever can be traced back to a humble petition on change.org. A certain Ben Plato from Melbourne, Australia, is credited with initiating the petition, which garnered a slightly more impressive 22,000 signatures. The aim of this petition? To implore Sega to release a revised Dreamcast model complete with a digital library, a dream cherished by countless fans of the iconic console. The article, ever the harbinger of hope, also suggests that the group involved has plans to launch a Kickstarter campaign with the intent of transforming these dreams into tangible hardware and finalised designs. Yet, despite these additional layers of apparent commitment, skepticism persists. Even with the knowledge of a change.org petition and potential Kickstarter campaign, the entire concept would still seem implausible to many discerning readers. The intricacies of the real story behind the so-called Dreamcast 2 supergroup shed light on the questionable nature of this entire saga. In reality, this group's official name was much more straightforward: Dreamcast Revival. This detail, when examined alongside even the most rudimentary knowledge of gaming history, immediately raises a red flag. You see, gaming aficionados would swiftly recognise that the moniker the Sega Dreamcast 2 is in essence the most preposterous name ever conceived for a gaming console. Sega's tradition was to devise new and distinct names for each generation of their consoles, and numerical designations were typically reserved for consoles with altered form factors, as evidenced by the Master System 2, the Mega Drive 2, and the Sega Mega CD 2. It seems that the Dreamcast 2 name for the console was concocted primarily to generate clicks. Patrick Lawson, briefly mentioned earlier, emerged as a key figure in this convoluted tale. He engaged with several websites to discuss the Facebook group he was a part of, which in turn catalysed a cascade of misleading headlines and led Facebook users to believe that Sega was indeed on the brink of unveiling a new console. In a bid to demystify the origin of the Dreamcast 2 name, Lawson himself confessed that he remained uncertain about its roots, posting that it may have germinated from the sea of falsehoods that proliferate through Facebook's trending topic algorithm. The speculative nature of this revelation only deepens the enigma surrounding the Dreamcast 2 narrative. Revisiting the infamous petition that garnered considerable attention within this group, it had grand ambitions, advocating for the creation of an entirely new console that would boast a range of modern features. It envisioned a gaming apparatus equipped with Wi-Fi capabilities, 4 wireless controllers, a capacious 500GB hard drive, a GD-ROM drive, HDMI output, and the ability to upscale games to either 720p or 1080p. The petition's ambitious demands further fueled the belief in the Dreamcast 2's potential existence, despite the surreal nature of the claims. So it seems clear that the Dreamcast 2 rumours originated from this rather intriguing source. The petition at the centre of this tale expresses the desire for this hypothetical gaming console to establish a connection with what they refer to as the Dreamcast Classic Store, an envisioned digital marketplace for game downloads. But before we get carried away further, it's important to look at the motivations of one of the key figures involved, Patrick Lawson. He would divulge to news sites that the primary objective of this endeavour was to gather supporters and subsequently raise a substantial sum of $1 million. This financial endeavour was aimed at paving the way for a Kickstarter campaign, which, if successful, would serve as a foundation for a formal proposal to Sega of Japan. Another notable contributor to this intriguing saga, Ben Plato, an ardent Sega enthusiast who collaborated with Lawson on the petition, made it a habit to provide regular updates on the progress of their Change.org petition. So on December 9th, 2015, one of his updates contained a revelation that a remarkable hardware manufacturer had approached him, armed with a team of exceptionally talented and unconventional coders and designers all ready to create a new gaming system. The catch, however, was that they required the coveted green light from Sega to proceed. He tantalizingly concluded his update by stating that he was currently in the process of formulating a proposal to present to Sega. In this whirlwind of hopes and aspirations, some skeptical observers such as Chris Powell from SegaNerds.org began to speculate. He surmised that this particular update, with its promise of an innovative hardware manufacturer's involvement and the quest for Sega's approval, was the catalyst for the propagation of unfounded rumours through social media platforms like Facebook. It also laid the groundwork for numerous misleading articles and discussions regarding the authenticity and viability of the petition. Stepping further into this captivating narrative, a dedicated website for Project Dream emerged as a central hub for this intriguing venture. Curiously, the website's initial content appeared rather sparse, but its main enticement was the call to action for visitors to sign up for newsletters. A standout feature on the site was an enigmatic countdown timer that was set to culminate on the eve of December 31st that same year. This countdown served as a tantalizing source of speculation and intrigue, leaving many to wonder about the secret that it held. As the story unfolded, Lawson, one of the key figures behind this movement, would reveal that the Project Dream team had not one, but 2 bold ideas for proposals. The first concept involved the creation of a hybrid system, a fusion of a PC and the beloved Dreamcast console. The second proposal was even more audacious, envisioning an ultra-powerful gaming system capable of running next-generation Sega-developed games. This whole nation of this proposal bore an uncanny resemblance to the comical situation in which Ali G famously claimed that his idea for the PlayStation 2 had been stolen, as he asserted that he had already conceived it while playing the original PlayStation. What fueled the team's belief in Sega's potential to bring these proposals to fruition was their unique perspective on Sega's capabilities. They saw Sega as more than just a gaming company. They perceived it as a powerhouse in the arcade industry. Lawson elaborated on this by explaining part of the magic about Sega is that being primarily an arcade amusement company, they have the resources and ability to sell a home consumer project at far better price points than Sony, Nintendo and Microsoft. This advantage stemmed from their distinctive approach of never building consoles from scratch. Instead, they utilised components and accessories commonly found in their arcade machines. Adding to the intrigue, Lawson shared that they had Sega of Japan interns actively involved in their endeavours, with plans to present their innovative proposals to Sega of Japan in the upcoming quarter. This prospect led to Lawson confidently asserting Sega will revive its old IPs, hinting at a potential renaissance of Sega classic franchises. Further insights into the project were obtained from reports by Kotaku, which managed to unearth some details while respecting Lawson's discretion about the exact specifications. One noteworthy proposal poised to be presented to Sega was intriguingly named Ring Edge Zero, drawing its inspiration from the Ring Edge arcade board. The choice of the Ring moniker was deliberate, as it was believed that it would instantly convey the notion that the system was licensed and manufactured by Sega, invoking a sense of nostalgia and trust among fans. On the subject of the intricacies of this Sega Ring Edge saga, it's important to address a key element that might be unfamiliar to many. The Sega Ring Edge, which Lawson made reference to, was an entity that had not been previously discussed within this context. So what exactly was he alluding to? The Sega Ring Edge, it turns out, was a noteworthy arcade board introduced by Sega in 2009. This particular arcade board was a significant departure from Sega's traditional gaming hardware. It was built on PC architecture, running a Microsoft Windows operating system. The underlying concept behind this technology was to encourage third-party companies to develop arcade games for these systems. The Ring Edge was engineered with the intention of being cost-effective and streamlined, making it an appealing choice for game developers looking to create immersive arcade experiences. In essence, the Sega Ring Edge represented an innovation within Sega's arcade infrastructure, hinting at the company's penchant for forward thinking. Returning to Lawson, who had assumed a central role in this unfolding narrative, his involvement extended beyond the online petition and proposals. He employed an interesting tactic to bolster the perceived support for their group's ideas. Lawson allegedly made claims that Yuji Naka, a prominent figure in the gaming industry, had accepted his Facebook friend request, using this connection as evidence of the backing they were garnering for their ambitious cause. This strategic use of social media connections underscored the determination of the team to push their agenda. However, Lawson's penchant for boastful proclamations and grandiose ideas would soon reach its limits. Project Dream, the collective driving force behind the movement, would ultimately make the difficult decision to remove him from their team.
Get out. Get out. I mean it.
This decision was rooted in the belief that Lawson's behaviour and his tendency to make sensational claims were the primary catalysts for the proliferation of misinformation surrounding their objectives. In essence, his big mouth and propensity for wild assertions had become counterproductive, leading the team to re-evaluate their strategies. Bertie Wiseman, another integral member of the group, sought to clarify the essence of Project Dream. He emphasised that Project Dream did not equate to Dreamcast 2, but rather was a campaign aiming at rekindling Sega's presence in the game console market. Ben Plato added further nuance by suggesting that if everything unfolded according to their well-laid plans, the next logical step would be to convince Sega to resurrect the genuine Dreamcast 2. One key figure, Wiseman, voiced skepticism about the likelihood of Sega moving forward with a new console. Despite his involvement in the project, he believed that the chances of Sega officially endorsing such an endeavour were quite slim. Nevertheless, he and his fellow creators held a strong desire for Project Dream to gain traction and be supported by passionate Sega fans, regardless of the corporation's involvement. In the midst of all of this, Plato offered a profound perspective. He urged everyone to take Project Dream seriously, emphasising that it was not a mere joke, but rather a work in progress with the ultimate goal of creating an enhanced gaming experience reminiscent of the Dreamcast. He stressed the importance of not perceiving it as the Dreamcast 2, but as the revival of a remarkable but short-lived console, improved and enhanced. Then, in June 2016, a sudden twist of fate occurred. Project Dream was officially shut down. The Project Dream Facebook group released a statement explaining that internal conflicts within the team had become unsustainable. Inefficient and unprofessional conduct had led to the removal of certain members and the departure of others. Seasoned professionals within the gaming industry had distanced themselves from the project due to this embarrassing lack of progress. The dream was officially dead. Project Dream was closed. Today, some fans refer to the Xbox as a Dreamcast 2, due to certain similarities and connections between the two consoles. The comparison highlights the legacy of Sega's influence on Xbox, but doesn't make it an official successor to the Dreamcast. While a true Dreamcast 2 is improbable, the demand from fans for a spiritual successor, or for Sega to once again begin producing powerful console hardware, remains strong. So it's no wonder so many people got caught up amongst all of this audacious speculation and rumours. Anyway, if you enjoyed this episode, check out my upload from last week on the lost Sega Dreamcast add-on. Yeah, cheerio.